What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Steph, growing in zone 6B. If you are here for the first time, welcome for the first time. So as you can see, y'all, I am back in the basement. And I'm starting some seeds this morning. It is a Saturday. Saturday is my most productive day to kind of get things done. And so that's what I'm gonna do. But while I was starting these seeds, I got to looking up some stuff about different requirements for seed starting. And I thought I would pop on real quick and share what I learned with you guys. So I usually do this every year. If I'm sowing perennial herbs or flowers or some kind of seeds outside of what I would normally sow, like tomatoes and peppers and so forth, usually I automatically know how those things operate, how they sprout, how they grow. But there are certain seeds that require certain things. And so I wanted to talk about it on this video today. So, number one, there is your regular old drop your seed in the dirt. So these are the seeds that do not require any kind of special treatment, and most seeds are like that. So check the back of your package. It'll tell you, sometimes it'll tell you, this seed needs to be sown 1/4 inch, 3/4 inch. My rule of thumb with seeds that don't have any special requirements is, I don't get fancy with the depth. I just, the smaller the seed, the closer to the top of the soil they are. The bigger the seed, I sow them a little bit deeper. And so those are like tomatoes. They don't require anything special. You can just pop them in the dirt. Onions, they don't require anything special. But there are other seeds that require light to germinate. So some perennials, like I know rosemary and feverfew, and some other perennials and some flowers requires light to germinate. So what does that mean? Literally what it says. You surface sow your seeds. So if you're going to start them indoors in a grow station, even if you're going to sow them outside, you would not cover them with the soil like you would traditionally. You would just, I have an example here. Like this is my rosemary. Nope, this is my feverfew. I've already labeled it. So when I went ahead to sow these seeds, what I did was I sprinkled them on the top like this, and then I patted them down like this to make sure that they had good contact with the soil. Now, I won't say that they won't germinate if you cover them, but your germination rate might be a lot less if you cover them with soil, because it is telling you. And then, like, this is my rosemary pack. It does not say anything about it needing light to germinate. It says, scatter seeds on top of a moistened, well-drained potting soil. Keep soil covered with a clear top to maintain moisture and allow light in. Oh, it does say a light. So it'll say on the back of this one does. It says, allow light in while maintaining 80 degrees while seeds are germinating. So this seed pack does, but some of them don't. So you got to pay attention to what it says. This one says, allow light, 80 degrees temperature. So it's letting you know, hey, this needs a little bit of a warmer temperature to germinate, which means that if it takes 2 to 3 weeks, if it takes 7 to 14 days, if it says it takes 21 days, then you want to kind of honor that a little bit. Because one of the things that I have done is not read the back of the pack, and then, sown the seeds. I didn't look at the fact that it needs light. And then what happens is nothing is germinating, and then I go start more of the same seeds, and more and more and more, and then I'm wasting soil, I'm wasting seeds, nothing is happening, and I'm getting frustrated trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Another thing about this rosemary is it says, 2 to 3 weeks before your last frost date. Now, I'm sowing this rosemary early, and the reason being is, even though it says 2 to 3 weeks before your last frost date, rosemary has historically taken a long time to germinate for me. It really has. And so something that says that it requires 80 degrees to germinate, I typically use a heat mat. I purchased my heat mat off Amazon. It was about $14, $15. If it says 80 degrees and it needs some humidity, you got to give it 80 degrees or as close to it as you can get, and you need to give it some humidity. If you don't, it may take a long time. It may take a lot longer for those seeds to germinate, or sometimes they may not germinate at all. So that's number 2. You have your regular old seeds, nothing special. You have your seeds that require light to germinate. The third thing that I'm going to talk about is seeds that require cold stratification. So I touched on this in my last video. Cold stratification is when your seeds need a chill hour. So they need chill time. So that's similar to like fruit trees that need chill hours, and they do better in certain climates. So those seeds are no different. That when they say they require cold stratification, like I talked about my lavender and some of the other seeds like garlic, it needs a cold period. Seeds that require a cold period, you either need to put them in the refrigerator for a certain amount of time, or you need to plant them outside when it's cold, something like that. When it says that, they serious about that, y'all. Them seeds that require chill hours or cold, if you live in California at 80 degrees all year round, 70 degrees all year round, you may not have enough chill hours. I live in Ohio. I got too many chill hours if you ask me. So chill hours, check and make sure that your seeds don't require chill hours. Specifically to pepper seeds. Peppers they like a lot of heat. They really do. Especially what I noticed about a real spicy pepper. They require even more heat to germinate. I'm not saying that they won't germinate without it, but like I'm in my basement. The temperature down here is regular for indoors, but it's a little bit cooler than my main floor. And so some things like peppers, I'll give it a little more humidity. I'll give it a little more heat, just to kind of kickstart that germination. Once it germinates, I'll go ahead and take them humidity domes off. Well, for me, I use plastic because I'm cheap and I'm not going to buy a bunch of humidity domes. I use plastic wrap, or I will use some kind of plastic clear covering, bubble wrap sometimes. Really just depends on, I use what I have is the bottom line. So for those seeds, I go ahead and do what's required. Another thing that I'm going to talk about is your larger seeds. So y'all stay right here. I'll give y'all an example. Okay. I was looking for an example of a larger seed. And this isn't even as large as it gets. If I have like a pumpkin seed, something that's large like that, a very large cucumber seed. This seed is not actually that big. This is a Armenian cucumber. But if you get like a larger seed, sometimes if you just, some of the larger seeds come with a thick outer parameter or shell on them. And if you just snip the corner, so if this seed was huge, let me show y'all. Like if this seed was huge, y'all see that seed right there? If it was like this big or so, I could just snip this little corner, and then that would expose the seed to water. And that exposure to water may help the seed germinate a bit. So look that up as well. Another thing that I have found out when I start seeds is some seeds do better when you soak them. Some people say they don't, but for one specific example that I have is my spinach. So for me, spinach seeds do not germinate well unless I soak them. Peas, so sweet peas, snap peas, those seeds do better if I soak them. So I end up giving those a soak to see how they go. So that's a few more examples of, things that require maybe just a little extra care or something specific. And then last but not least, direct sow. So, for me, certain seeds are better if you just wait until the springtime and sow them outside. There's a lot of seeds like watermelons. So I would love to get a jump start on my watermelons. And sometimes I do start watermelons indoors. Who knows what I'll do by the time March comes. But one specific example of that is radishes and green beans and carrots. I guess that's 3 specific examples. Some vegetables or fruits are better if you just sow them in the dirt when it's time outside. And one of the reasons why that's true is because some of the vegetables or fruits don't like their roots to be disturbed. And if you sow them early indoors, you would have to be very, very careful without damaging that root, especially things like taproot vegetables, like carrots. I have transplanted carrots out before, but they do much better and they are much healthier if I direct sow them. So that's another thing that you want to consider. If you are considering starting seeds, starting your garden from seed, it's just a few things that I learned as a newbie along the way, taking my successes and my failures and really figuring out, okay, what worked for me, did this, how can I do this differently? And as I started to look up different things about why I wasn't successful, I learned more and more and more. So starting seeds don't have to be intimidating. It just takes a little bit of knowledge. It takes a little bit of resources. We have Google at our fingertips. Look things up to make sure that you are maximizing your success rate, and then go ahead and get started and you'll be all right. If there is, anything that I missed from the seasoned gardeners that you think would be helpful to a new gardener, go ahead and drop your experiences in the comments. Let other people know. What have you experienced? What works for you? What didn't work for you? These are just the things that I have learned and have worked for me. And so, that's how I do it. So y'all continue to follow me on my journey. I'm going to be starting seeds from now through March. And that's about it. And, I'll see you guys on the next video. Y'all take care. Seed starting season has officially begun, depending on where you are in the country and what you're planning on growing for the 2025 season. So let's get started, y'all. All right, y'all. Bye for now.